time once again to slip into your camo, grab your bow, and join us out in the field for another episode of the Up North Journal, presented by PSE Archery. The Up North Journal crew is knocked and ready to rock for another exciting adventure. So let's step outside and hit the trail.
This episode of the Up North Journal podcast is brought to you by PSE Archery,
Scentlock Technologies,
Scent Blocker,
Rambo Bikes,
Hunter's Blend Coffee,
Limwalker Game Calls,
Stanislawski Releases,
Copper John Sights,
Easy Cut Outdoor Products,
Fourth Arrow Camera Arms,
Wind Sense Hunting Sense,
X-Stand Tree Stands,
Spot Shooters,
Gut Check Indicators,
and Packermax Cultipackers. And don't forget you can catch us in syndication at 2 p.m. Eastern Time on goodtalkradio.com. Welcome back to another special episode of the Up North Journal Wednesday night. Tred Barta Get Off the Couch Expedition with Tred Barta. Tred,
hey.
You're out in Alaska, and when we were just talking to you, you just said you almost got eaten by a grizzly bear. You got to explain.
Well,
what's going on?
Number one, I'm out of my trailer. I had to drive 20 miles from my trailer on the Lutina River in Copper Corner, Alaska, about 2 hours from Valdez, north from Valdez. And the other day, I'm out trying to find firewood that's just located, fallen down over this road. And out of the middle of no place, I come up on this logging road with 4G and 4 bars. So I don't know where the hell I am or why, but I'm out in the woods. And about 15 minutes ago, Pepper's out taking a walk while I'm trying to reach you guys on the phone.
Right.
And a mature grizzly walks, we call them brown bears here, walked right across the logging road about 15 feet from the truck. I've got Pepper on the other side of him, and I'm trying to call Pepper to the truck, get in the truck. I've got a 45 ACP Glock, model 36.
Right.
I've got that drawn on the bear, trying to call Pepper around, and it was pretty dicey. But welcome to Alaska, really no big deal. I almost didn't get eaten, but the bear almost got shot.
Okay, fair enough. But is that the closest encounter you've had yet with bear up there? Is that, I got to say, 15 feet? That's pretty close.
About 2 weeks ago, I was in Valdez, and I was fishing for Chinooks, fresh run Chinooks in the ocean, and it's on a dirt road, and there's a very small opening, and I was fishing in this open area, and in my manual wheelchair, and things are working out pretty good, actually. I had broken off 2 fish, and things were working out pretty well. And here he comes, Mr. Brown Bear, and his head, what a watermelon, man. I mean, you're talking about an honest 1,000-pound, 9-foot, 10-foot square bear, a really nice one. And he came down to fish at the same hole I was at, and I don't mind telling you, it scared the living hell out of me.
Right.
I mean, by the time it was all over, I was shaking. I had just, of all the stupid things to do, I want everybody who's listening, anybody who's out there who's got a urine bag like me, do not empty the urine bag next to a salmon stream, because the grizzly is going to come and piss right where you emptied your urine bag. It does not work well at all.
So it's a scent
stupid.
thing.
I had no idea.
Wow.
There goes a logging truck. Stand by. Here comes another one.
Gotcha.
Cool. So, I was doing all the right things with the bear, and all of a sudden he keeps coming and coming and coming, and I did all my talk and waving and everything else, and it really got down to the point that I said to myself, "Look, bear, you take one more full step, and I'm going to empty the gun in your head." And thank God he didn't come any close. But that was the closest encounter I've had. I would say about 8 yards.
What was Pepper's reaction while you're trying to call her back and the bear's there? I mean, how did that happen?
We got a real problem with Pepper. He hasn't been swatted, bit, or hurt by a bear yet, and it's coming.
Yeah.
And hopefully the dog doesn't give his life, but there's nothing I can do about that. I mean, we're in bear country. I'm going to need to lock up my Labrador as a hamster, where he's going to have to learn from himself. He's starting to learn.
Gotcha.
But I don't think he'll ever learn until he gets the brunt, But in the meantime, that was pretty scary. I had a fabulous fishing trip, as you can see, in Valdez. We had 8 full-blown halibut running between 75 to 90 pounds, and we also had a number of black rockfish.
That's what those
red
were.
And black rockfish.
Okay, I
And,
was wondering those fish, what they were. They look like a rock.
Yeah,
I mean,
it actually looks like a northeastern, what we call a tautog or a blackfish.
Okay.
And very delicious eating, a very thick meat. You know, one of these logging trucks smashed a red squirrel, and 2 American eagles are flying around overhead trying to tear this mushed, run-over squirrel apart. It's the
Wow.
funniest thing you've ever seen.
Wow, that's incredible. All the kinds of critters you see out there is amazing. Well,
But I've seen, let's talk about it. I've seen black bear, grizzly, brown bear, caribou, ptarmigan, wolf. I've seen a badger. I've seen a wolverine, and I've seen a number of birds that I don't know the names of. They're kind of like camp robber jays and
Right.
different like that. I've seen a number of rabbits that are transitioning from white to brown during summer, and really it's just a tremendous. I've seen otters, seals, seen a lot of neat stuff, and so anyway, so after Valdez, the great trip at Valdez, I put a lot of fish together. I froze it, vacuum packed it, and I drove up to Four Corners, which is about an hour and a half in general north of Valdez. It goes over the Thompson Pass, which is one of the steepest, most beautiful passes in all of Alaska. It is gorgeous. And the top of the pass goes by a beautiful lake. It's either called Strawberry Lake or Blueberry Lake. Sorry, but I don't forget it. But it is just an alpine lake. It's gorgeous with glaciers and snow all around it. And I'm going to spend about a week there on my way back. But the general area is just one of the most beautiful in all of Alaska. Right now, the Copper River and the Clutina River, they both converge at one spot at the confluence. And the fresh run reds, which they also call Chinooks, which you also see later in their life up the river, turn green and red and die, and as they do. We're fishing for them now in a complete silver condition, and the king salmon are running also, and the kings are running between 40 to 70 pounds.
wow.
And these are monsters. So I'm having the trip of my life, and I'm by myself. A special friend is coming to see me in a couple of weeks, and then after that, I've got some guests from Beaufort, North Carolina, and Florida, so that I have some company. But the last couple of weeks, I have really been emboldened. I think it's called Husqvarna, makes a battery-powered chainsaw.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you've ever seen these things, but they're incredible. And they're quiet, they're lightweight, and they do the work of a full chainsaw. So, this week I'm cutting wood, I'm putting up firewood, I'm making kindling, I'm smoking fish. I bought a little Chief smoker, so I'm smoking salmon in a water mixture with brown sugar, salt, and spices. So I'm putting away a lot of the smoked salmon, and it is a deep, deep, deep red color, just fully rich of amino acids and stuff like that. So I feel very emboldened there. I almost cut my leg off in half the wheelchair with the chainsaw, so it's definitely learning how to do that. I'm transferring myself from my manual chair to the action track chair down to the river. That's a big deal. I'm cooking for myself, cleaning for myself, showering for myself. I'm hooking up the trailer, unhooking the trailer, hooking up the electric, hooking up the water, unhooking that stuff.
So everything's working
like
well.
John Bunyan. No, it is working well.
Good.
And I've fallen out of my wheelchair only 3 times this week, which is I think a world record since I've been in Alaska. But guys, I'm doing it. And
Awesome.
My confidence is at a high level, and I really feel good, and I come into my own pace. And the reason I'm saying this is not to brag or not to boast. That would be stupid, paralyzed from my chest down. But it's just to let other people know that you don't think you can do this stuff, and then you can't do this stuff, and then all of a sudden you start doing it, and then you wake up one week and holy God, I'm doing it all myself.
Right.
Fantastic.
That is awesome.
No, just fantastic.
Well, you talk about doing things yourself and working there, the things that are working for you in the camper. The one thing that we haven't talked about yet, and I've got a picture, I'm going to put it up right now, is on the inside of your trailer, we talked about this before, but we never showed the picture of the rod holders on the ceiling. How is that working out for you? I mean, are you able to access them like you thought you would?
I got 16 rods on the ceiling, and I merely, back at Harborview, the guys helped me put teacup holders in a strip of wood, and the butt, the middle section, and the tip go in these teacup holders, and then they're tied down with rubber bands. Well, it's working great because with my, what do you call the long...
The grabber?
The grabber. I've got 3 grabbers, and I can get a rod up and down and do the rubber band with the grabber. So it's working out really great. It really is.
That's awesome. Not only that, it looks cool. It looks great in there. I mean, the picture, you can see it on the ceiling. It looks like it belongs there.
My trailer is Boys Town times 6.0 times 10 to the 23rd double. I mean, this is the coolest man cave on wheels anyone's ever seen.
Oh, man. You crack me up, man. You can tell you're having fun. I can tell by the pictures.
Tred, we got a comment from a Michael Solomon. Tell Barta his Colorado guide is ready to come up to Alaska.
Oh, great. Michael Salamone is a school teacher and a Class A guide in Vail, Colorado.
Nice.
Not only is he a good Christian man and has a great family, but he's a great guide. I've done a lot of fishing with him, and I'm glad I didn't know that. So I'm going to call him this week and invite him up, and I know he'll come. He's a great fly fisherman, and he's been a real good mentor of mine, and he's a good man. That's cool. One thing I wanted to say is that H&L Enterprises in Harborview, they did a hell of a job on his trailer. But let me just tell you something. They screwed up big time. And when they hear this, they ain't going to be happy. They're not going to be happy at all. But I want the listener to understand that I am 99% happy with this company and the people and Peggy, the owner. My trailer has been 100%. But the truth is, they sent me to Alaska with cheap-ass Chinese tires that I'm sure were good for 99% of all of their clientele. But those tires are crap, and they will not produce under what Alaska has to dish out.
Mm-hmm.
And the tires have 6,000 miles on them, and they look like they have 50,000 miles on them. And I'm just saying, as I'm learning more and more about man's trailer tires, 8-ply tires that really are made for Alaska, they don't come from China.
Right.
So, I know they're going to be angry with me, but my name is Tred Barta. I call a spade a spade. And I must say one thing for H&L and, their vendors, that they are sending me 4 brand new tires to Valdez. But the tires I have are no good. And they are no good. They may be good to go to the ice cream store in Memphis, Tennessee, but they're no good up here.
Well, kind of explain what happened. I mean, you're pulling the trailer, I assume, it had to have been pulling it when you had the blowout.
Well, I'm going down Thompson Pass, and before I go, I'm sending, John, I think his name is John Such. He's a wonderful man,
mm-hmm.
and my go-to guy. You guys met him.
Yep.
You guys met him when we were there at the factory.
Mm-hmm.
But, I sent him pictures of the tires. I said, John, look at these tires. And that the day I sent him the picture, I went down the Thompson Pass. The tire completely blew up. The next tire blew up. I go in with one tire on each side, and, it's a real mess. And I don't know what to say. I'm not impressed. I'm just sorry. It's the last Chinese tire I'll ever buy.
Right.
I never knew, I never knew I had Chinese tires.
Yeah, I wouldn't have known one way or the other. So you blew tire on both sides. Were they on the front or the back of the trailer?
I have a dual axle trailer.
Right.
I blew one on the left side forward and one on the back side. So the trailer I limped in the Valdez on 2 tires.
Wow. Okay.
Out of 4. I mean, it was a real certified mess.
And did you replace all 4 of them at that time?
In the meantime, they're sending me new tires, and I carry 2 extra spares.
Right.
And, I'm okay, but that's just the way it is.
Okay.
I listen to this, guys. This trailer, the lift, the microwave, the washer, the dryer, all of the lights, the pull-out, the pull-in, the pump, everything is 100% omniscient. I cannot believe it. I can't. If you saw the inside of this trailer after some of the trips that I've made, you would think it's, it went through a hurricane. I almost flipped it over once.
I remember that.
Windstorm.
Yeah.
But, I'm very happy with the company. I really chose the right company. And let me tell you something else. This coffee company, Hunter's Blend Coffee,
mm-hmm.
I'm getting addicted. I like it every morning. The best thing about Hunter's Blend Coffee is when you get out of bed, I want to be in love so much. And I haven't said much about my secret friend, and I'm not going to, so I don't want to jinx anything. But the greatest thing I can get out of a relationship with any woman is having coffee brought to me in bed. And if that sounds chauvinistic, so be it. When I get out of bed and I roll from one side to the other side and one side to the other side, just to get my pants on, to get my shoes on, my socks on, I roll over to the coffee maker, and you open the silver packet of Hunter's Blend Coffee. And I now split it just so my nose goes right in the package.
Yep.
And I inhale. And it is so good on an Alaskan morning. But I really am. I'm in love with that coffee. And I really am. Kudos to those guys. They're doing something good for our sport. They're donating money. The coffee's delicious. And, I don't owe them 1 cent of my life. They aren't a sponsor of mine.
Mm-hmm.
They gave me some coffee. I thank them very much. But I like their coffee. And if you guys, anybody out there thinking about trying it, you ought to.
Absolutely. It's good stuff, and there's no better way to start your day than with a cup of that. It'll definitely get you going. So
good stuff.
Well, I'll tell you what.
But,
let's take a quick break here. We'll kind of regroup here in the commercial break, and then when we come back, we'll continue the conversation. So we'll step outside.
Okay.
And we'll be right back after this.
PSE Archery has reinvented the way you buy bows.
From now on, you can make the most educated decision possible
by basing your bow choice specifically on your shooting needs and goals.
All you need to do is ask yourself, what kind of shooter am I? What do I want to achieve?
PSE will help find the right category for you.
So, what kind of shooter are you?
Find out at psearchery.com.
Welcome back. Second segment of the show. Tred's having a coffee out there in Alaska.
He's falling in love with coffee, and Michael Salamoni says that you have always kept your rods on the ceiling.
Always have, yeah, even in my bedroom.
Is there a reason why?
There's two of the most beautiful things. One that, hold on, the logging truck's coming by. Oh, God, you should see how they load these things up. It's unbelievable.
The last one that went by sounded like it was flying 90 miles an hour.
Two of the most beautiful things in the world that you can look up to. When you're lying in bed, one is looking at your girlfriend or your wife or the woman that you love, and there she is. I mean, it's just beautiful. The second most beautiful thing in the world you can look up at is bamboo fly rods on the ceiling. And that's just the way life is. And, I sit there, I lie in bed, I look up, and, there are my 2, 4, 6, and lightweight and zeros this and zeros that and bamboo this and bamboo that, and it just makes me happy. So I think I know the reason. But fly rods are a real pain in the ass to store. So having them on the ceiling really is the safe way to have them.
Okay, that makes sense. I mean, they're up and out of the way. You need them, you get them. You reach and get them. You put them back. You don't have to worry about stepping on them or falling on them or throwing something on them or. Yeah,
very true.
That makes sense, especially since you got so much money wrapped up into them. Because I tell you what, they're not cheap.
They are not cheap. Nope.
So,
but what better way to spend your money in life than on a fly rod?
So I want to hear more about this fishing excursion. I mean, we had a picture here just a minute ago, and you're in the back of a boat, and you're going across the water. You got both hands up. I can tell that you're loving life. You're having fun, and where you want to be. You talked a little bit about the fish, but tell us about that trip.
Number one, Valdez has got the greatest amount of snowfall than any city in the United States of America, averaging between 300 to 550 inches per year.
Wow.
You hear that?
That's incredible.
Anybody home?
Man alive.
500 inches of snow.
You just don't plow
They
that.
They also have wind and sleet and cloudy days, and it's a fishing community that's on the sea, on the bay, something Bay of Wales. I forget. I'm sorry. I should know that. And during that, every once in a while, they get a perfect zero wind day, and that's the day I had. And there was no wind, and it allowed my friend, the captain, to go 80 nautical miles, 78 nautical miles from the harbor to a lot of rock upcroppings where he doesn't get to fish a lot. And, I don't know why I threw my hands up, but it's just one of joy. You go down, there's mountains, and you mountain goats and doll sheep and all kind of, wildlife on the top of these glacial mountains. And then you see the snow line, and it goes down into verdant timber and then comes down into your seashore where all of the bears are working, the salmon running up the streams, and it's just a huge ecosystem. But it is so beautiful, it just takes your breath away. And what a tremendous trip. And let me tell you something. I used to say that the biggest halibut I ever caught was 40 years ago, weighed 375 pounds. And these fish were much smaller, but they fought like hell. And I'm telling you, they really fought hard. And it was a great fight and a lot of fun. So, catching the fish was fun. Cleaning them back at the dock was fun. Packaging them, freezing them, brining them, putting them away. It's all part of the deal. I always say on these hunts that I've taken all over the world, it's not the destination, everybody. It's the journey.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, half the fun is packing.
Mm-hmm. Well, I got a picture up right now. You're cutting fish up. Now, to me, some people think that's work, but you can tell that you're sitting there, you're taking your time with it, you're enjoying it, you're getting your hands dirty. Like you said, that's part of the journey.
Halibut is a pure white, flaky, thick, robust, dense meat, and I call it the steak of the ocean, and it is delicious. The closest thing to a halibut, in my opinion, would be a fluke or a flounder or a cod, that type of consistency. And the fish, it is delicious. Delicious.
So,
people say, how do you like to cook it? Oh, I like to take a pan, a little butter, a little salt and pepper, and stick the fillet in there and then eat it. I mean, it's that simple.
Just nice and easy. Well, how many pounds total did you guys catch there, and did you put away that you personally took with you?
Well, we caught 245 pounds of fillets.
Wow.
And I took about 38 pounds, and everybody else took some also. So we divvied it up. The captain gave some to his sister. But, around here, it is sacrilege to waste food.
Right.
You don't do it.
Right.
It's just part of the creed. So nothing is ever wasted.
Okay, so you've got this meat put away, and you've taken your share of it with you back to your camper, your trailer. How much room do you have in the freezer? I mean, are you able to freeze a lot of it? Are you going to have to consume this pretty quick?
No, I rented when I was in Valdez, I bought a small freezer, and I'm keeping it at somebody's house I met there.
Okay.
And I'm allowing them to use my freezer, and I'm using half of it, so it was a pretty good deal.
Okay. So that way
I paid for the freezer. They're paying for the electric. They get to use half. So I think that was a good deal for me.
Gotcha. Okay. Very nice.
But I'm looking forward to moose season and caribou season and bear season, and I'm gonna do a lot of hunting this fall.
So right now I got to imagine we talked about the bears there at the very beginning of the show coming out. They're coming out of the winter doldrums there. You're getting into spring and summer now. So I imagine, is it just a lot of fishing right now?
Well, right now, every bear has gone through the cycle of young grass. They've already done that. About 90% of the bears in Alaska are out of their den. They've called turning their stomachs. They've eaten grubs, they've eaten anything they can find, they've eaten grass, and then one morning they say, hello, I'm 1,200 pounds. I need some fat.
Right.
And every brown bear, in my opinion, in Alaska is going after caribou calves, or they're after salmon.
Okay.
And they're on the streams, and they're on there heavy.
And when
so the natives, you run into them all the time.
Mm-hmm. Now, when will the hunting season start to kick in there? September-ish?
Yeah, September, October.
Okay.
Well, no, that's not true. That's not true. In certain parts of Alaska, the end of August.
Okay.
And mostly the beginning of September. A lot of Alaska, you better get the hell out of it by October. So August, September, October are the big months.
Okay. Now, when you get there, being that you're a non-resident, what does it cost for a fishing license for you to be able to go out and fish for the year?
I paid, hold on a second. I think I paid $85 or $90 for a non-resident fishing license.
For the entire year?
For the entire year.
That's not bad.
And by the time hunting season comes around, I hope to be very close to being a resident. So at that point, I'll be paying resident, subsistence fees rather than tourist fees. But in Alaska, you can only hunt big game with a registered guide.
Okay.
And although they tell me there are loopholes, it's not something I really understand completely. I do know that if I want to hunt by myself as a non-resident big game, I cannot hunt by myself. I have to hunt with a resident guide.
Okay.
But if you're,
and I think
if you're a resident,
these animals are dangerous.
Right.
Right. Okay. But if you're a resident, it might be a little different.
Oh, if you're a resident, you can shoot 5 black bears. You can shoot a subsistence moose. You can take 2 or 3 caribou. There's a lot of fish that you can take. You can fish with a wheel. You can fish with a dip net. You can fish with some type of a long line. There's a lot of things you can do to put away the resource as a resident.
Okay.
And so, it's a terrible thing. I don't want you guys to feel sorry, but I'm going to be hunting and fishing all year long, and it's just going to be terrible, isn't it?
Yeah, real terrible. Yeah, my heart's bleeding for you, pal.
Twist our arms. Hey, well, how long does it take for you to be there to become a resident? What's their stipulations on that?
1 year.
1 year, okay.
1 year. Yeah, 1 year.
Okay. So
I'm looking forward. I as of right now, I'm thinking about moving to Valdez.
So, okay.
And I'm not positive yet, but that's where I'm leaning.
What is it about Valdez that draws you?
It's the most beautiful place in the entire world. I have never seen a place as beautiful as Valdez is. There are mountains 360 degrees as you sit in the middle of town. It is prettier than all of Switzerland. It is prettier than all of the German Alps, the Italian Alps. It is prettier than Vail, Aspen, Colorado. It is prettier than all of the wilderness of British Columbia. I think it's the prettiest place I've ever been, and it takes your breath away.
And you don't mind 500 inches of snow?
I don't know what I mind.
You won't know until you hit it.
Right.
All I know is that a house that I'm looking to rent, on the roof, there's a snowblower. On the roof of this house. And I'm saying to the guy, I said, excuse me, but you have a lot of theft here? Why is the snowblower on the roof? He said, because last year, that's where I left it. I said, what? And that's how he was getting the snow off his roof.
Right. No sense in bringing it down.
It's really something. But Valdez is cut off from the rest of the world around 4 or 5 times a year. Thompson Pass is closed. The airlines are closed. Everybody takes care of each other there because that's the only thing they have is each other. And everybody barters the Alaskan way. And I was very drawn to Palmer and the Kenai and the Anchorage side of Alaska. But now I understand that Palmer they're thinking about making Palmer a sanctuary city.
Mm.
And don't even get me started on that.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So
right.
I don't need that. I don't want that. I'm a right-wing Republican, period. They want to have a season on people who want sanctuary cities. That's my view. It's against the law. It's wrong. And, I don't get it. So I think Valdez is a good spot for me.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I'll tell you one thing they're not. They're not making Valdez a sanctuary city.
Not going to happen there, huh?
No. Valdez is one of the only places where almost every car and every other hat says Trump on it.
Well, now here's a question. You said a car. What do people drive up there? Is it mostly four-wheel drive vehicles, trucks, big vehicles, or?
Yeah, if you don't drive a pickup, you're done.
Okay, makes sense.
I mean, there are some family cars, but I got to be honest. Everybody needs a pickup.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look, it's really hard to put a Moose in a Volkswagen Rabbit.
Right.
A little bit.
A little bit, really.
Take a couple trips.
So really, four-wheel drive pickups. I wish I had a diesel pickup. It's too bad I don't, but I wish I had one.
If you wind up living there, is that something that might be in your future?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to have. I'm looking into right now, seeing if I can get my pilot's license back, and there are some modifications done to some of these bush planes, all of which I have been certified before in, that allow your legs, where you would operate your rudders,
mm-hmm.
are tied in with an aileron push-pull tube system.
Okay.
And it's possible that a Husky or a single-engine airplane might be in my future again. I really miss flying, and I really miss bush plane flying. But it ain't easy getting me in one and getting me out of one. So,
mm-hmm.
But I do love. Alaska has more airplanes than they do vehicles.
Right.
I mean, it's incredible.
If you got back into that, would that be something you would do just for yourself exclusively, or would you fly with other people as well?
Oh, I would help people. I would fly by myself. I would fly. It's just an activity which I love.
Gotcha. Okay.
And if you look at Alaska, guys, carefully, there aren't many roads here. Do you know that?
I looked at the map, and there's very few roads. Yes.
There's no roads here. There ain't no roads. You go down to Valdez. You go across on either, I think it's Route 1 or Route 4 or 8. There's two roads that cut across Alaska. You can go up the Nome. You can take the upper route into the state or the lower route. I mean, the truth of the matter is that 90% of Alaska is accessed by float plane,
mm-hmm.
or a Husky or one of the airplanes on wheels. So most people who live in Alaska either fly or have friends that fly. So I'm kind of missing that, and I'm looking into it hard.
Well, you'd made a comment when you took that trip into Denali. Actually, I tell you what, let's take a break. I want to come back. I want to ask you something here real specific about Denali and your trip in there. So let's step outside. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we'll pick up the conversation there. We'll be right back after this.
PSE Archery has always dominated the speed category. Now, the most revolutionary cam system ever to hit the market has perfected the shooting experience. Introducing PSE's Evolve Cam System, featuring extremely high let-off capabilities and the smoothest draw cycle in history. No other cam system has ever delivered this level of total comfort and total control. Experience PSE. Experience performance.
Stand by. 3, 2, 1. Welcome back. Third segment of the show. Talking about Great Alaska, Valdez, Denali, all of it. Tred, I saw a post, and you'd made mention when you were going into Denali, you talked about the store there. You talk about how it was commercialized. Can you expand on that just a little bit and kind of give us an idea what you're talking about on that?
Well, Denali is a beautiful national park, and when I pulled into Denali, I kind of felt dirty.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't like it. Wasn't happy. They have got that place so commercialized. Buses and buses and more buses. Half day, all day, 10 minutes of the day, 3/4 day, 1/4 day, 1/5 of one day. I mean, it's ridiculous. You can't get into Denali unless you hike in and you have a special permit. You got to go in by bus on these trips, and there's gift shops all over the place. McDonald's, Burger King. I mean, I just hate to say it, but Anchorage has grown as much as it's grown, and the tourist industry has grown as much as it's going to grow.
Mm-hmm.
And Denali, to me, was a circus. I couldn't wait to get out of there.
Really?
And Denali is not for me.
Wow, that surprises me.
Well, I don't know why it surprised me. If I wanted to bring McDonald's with me, I wouldn't have come here.
Right? Yeah, you go there for the experience.
But I must say that one of the things I did like about Denali was they do have a real tremendous educational system where you can learn a lot about Alaska and you can learn a lot about flora and fauna and all of the, different games.
Mm-hmm.
But it was just too many people for me. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
It just wasn't Tred Barta.
Okay. It wasn't the wilderness experience. It was more of a tourist trap.
I don't want to be rude to the Alaska people,
mm-hmm.
and I don't want to be rude with regard to how much I value our parks, because I do. It just, tour buses don't have anything to do with Tred Barta. That's all.
Right.
It's not me.
It's not your cup of Hunter's Blend coffee.
That's right.
You got to enjoy your coffee somewhere else.
Yeah, I don't have. When I left Denali, I pulled over to the side of the road and I said to myself, I don't want to play in the sandbox. I'm out of here. And I left.
Mm-hmm. I use that term quite often.
Beautiful, in my opinion, the prima di qualità, the finest piece of real estate in all of Alaska. I don't make a jerk out of myself, so I'm pulling out the map. I think it's Route 1 across from Denali over to the other side of Alaska where I am now.
Mm-hmm.
And it is the most beautiful drive you've ever had. It's a 3.5-hour drive across the state, and it is beautiful. One spot is more pretty than the next. You can go from 3 major glaciers and ice fields, and you can drive up right to the bottom of them. So I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I've had a couple pictures up here that when I saw those, those just breathtaking. I mean, if you can't be in amazement at looking at that, something's wrong with you. It's just beautiful. It's awe-inspiring.
Guys, we haven't talked about religion much, and the reason we haven't talked about it is I haven't brought it up much.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to say this. I don't have TV.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have cable where I am. I'm located on the Glutina River. And when I say on, I mean I can open the window and do a flip cast out the window of my trailer into the water.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm on the Glutina. And as a result, I've started to read the Bible from the beginning in creation again. And I'm going to start at the very beginning of the Bible, and I'm going to read it through again. And last night I spent about 2 hours in creation. And I remember going to a scientific symposium in Baltimore, Maryland, where a number of scientists were discussing the Big Bang Theory. And the Big Bang Theory, as you know, and everybody knows who's listening, is when a big meteor struck the world we live in, and within a millisecond, the atom, the temperature, the water, all of the micro this or micro that, everything was in perfect, absolute harmony, and life was formed. That's the Big Bang Theory. Okay? It's not said very well, but in essence, it is said well. The essence, the fabric of life was for the taking. And they go through this Big Bang, and they admit in the beginning that they're all atheists, which is okay with me. People that have died on the beaches of Iwo Jima and in Normandy, so that you can be anything that you want. And I don't like it, but I accept it. But they also said that even if you follow the Big Bang Theory, that all of life, a hippopotamus in Africa, a red squirrel in Maine, a butterfly, or a frigate bird, a brontosaurus, anything, all of this, all of life, worms, insects, bugs, birds, everything, all of the flora, all of the fauna, all of the life under the ocean had to be formed in 3 days. And if it was not formed in 3 days, it could not have been formed. Now, I'm glad there's a pause, because maybe somebody's thinking, these are atheist scientists saying that to have every single thing perfect for life to explode, it had to be formed within 3 days. Well, you read Genesis, where there was a void, and God created the sky, and God created the ocean, and God created all of life so that man could sustain himself on what God created. And you go back the first day the Lord did this. The second day he did that. The third day he did this. The fourth day he did that. On the seventh day he rested. And all of a sudden, Genesis means much more to you than it ever meant before. And, I am one who truly believes that there is a God. And I believe in Jesus Christ. But I believe that the only way any of this could have happened, this complex fabric of life, is that something had to create it, which is so far beyond our comprehension that one could never believe it. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. I mean,
and I just wanted to share that with you. And I just think it's good. Now, here I am on a logging road, by the way, in Alaska. A car has stopped about an eighth of a mile and is backing up towards me.
Check and see if you're okay.
He is merely going to say, why is this truck parked on the side of the road, and is this guy okay? That's the Alaska I love.
Checking on his fellow Alaskan.
Yep. Because one day it might be him.
That's right. That's right. No, I hear what you're saying.
What I'm saying is that, when you look at the complexity of life, and you see so much of it in Alaska, there's so much just open wilderness, and everything is moving and living, and the summer and spring are very short compared to the winter, when most things are dug in. You really see the crush of life. And as I read Genesis last night, I'm saying to myself, my goodness, doesn't this sound familiar? And I related it to the scientists who did not believe in God, and I'm trying to relate to what they said. So finally, at this symposium, I raised my hand, and I said, gentlemen, I understand that you made it perfectly clear that you don't believe in God. I said, you know what, I don't like to hear that, but I accept it. So I said to them, so what do you call this 3 days where everything in the world that ever was going to be in nature had to be formed within those 3 days? What do you call that? And one scientist said, well, that's the beginning of evolution. And I raised my hand, and unfortunately, I said the wrong word, but I blurted it out. I'll blurt it out on the radio right now. I said bullshit. I said, how can it be evolution if nothing's evolved and it all happened in 3 days? And then they said the word. Tred, I didn't mean evolution. What I meant was creation. And that's when I said to myself, wow, isn't that something,
You got to call them out. You got
it. I find that not only fascinating, but it brings out the human element so much of how perishable you are, and what a small part of this world you really are. And it's very humbling. And as we all know, one of the greatest things about our Lord and Jesus Christ is what? It's to humble yourself before him, and grace. And it sure sounds like it's all happened in those 3 or 4 days. So, I guess what I'm saying is, if you want to feel what Tred Barta is feeling this week, if you want to experience some of what I'm dealing with this week, read the beginning of the Bible. Read the first Adam and Eve pages. It's very exhilarating. And that's the Tred Barta religious time today.
Well, I can only imagine from the pictures I see, to me it's just awe-inspiring. Danny and I spent the weekend up in Boyne, Michigan, which is on the west side of the Lower Peninsula, at a ski lodge shooting archery tournament up there, or archery event. And we stood up on top. It's only 500-foot rise, but we stood at the top of that mountain or hill and looked out over the town and all of Lower Michigan there that you could see. And it's all inspiring. You can see so far. You see what a bird sees. It's just imagine, from above what God can look down upon and see everything. It's just, and then where you're at, it's so pristine and so, I guess, raw. Yeah. That's the thing, is how raw it is.
It is. It's raw. I still say to everybody when they say, what's some of the prettiest places you've ever seen? I think that the sitting on a lake in the UP and watching the sunrise any time of the year is one of the most beautiful places in the world. I mean, on a very, very cold, wintry evening, when you've got a full moon and you're sitting on this lake with it's frozen over, with the snow moving across the lake, and the end of the moonlight's rays, dancing across the lake. I mean, it's just enough to put tears in your eyes.
Absolutely.
It is just so beautiful. And many parts of Alaska are like the UP. Very, very true. So
raw and pristine.
You guys are very lucky to live in that, that part of the country.
It is. It's a blessing. We take it a lot of times for granted, but we've got the Great Lakes here. That basically they're an inland sea, freshwater sea. The amount of game that we have, the amount of fish that we have. We here in Michigan and the other states surrounding the Great Lakes, we're truly blessed to be able to play in a playground like that.
Unbelievable. And it's not that far of a drive.
No, not at all. I mean, we can travel an hour and be on a Great Lake here. Here in Michigan from where Danny and I live, but I tell you what, keep your eyes open this weekend. There's supposed to be a strawberry moon, full moon on Father's Day, which will be this Sunday. So keep your eye out for that. If you've got clear skies.
Really?
Yeah, they say it's going to be a strawberry moon. So that might be something that you can experience out there. Put a little extra icing on the cake, so to speak.
Yeah.
So
I went to a Lutheran church last Sunday in Copper Center, and it was a nice service. I enjoyed it very much. Of course, Pepper went with me. And after the service was over, everybody brought out a dish, and they have a lunch where everybody brings food.
Mm-hmm.
And, I'm talking about rhubarb pie and, all kind of things. And
the good stuff.
I was really impressed at the sense of camaraderie and the sense of citizenship that you find in these small towns in Alaska. It really is wonderful to see.
I think a lot of that's what's missing today in America. I mean, we still see it in places, but generally speaking, across America, we seem to have lost touch with that somehow. It's sad that you have to go so far as to Alaska to find that. I don't know what happened along the way, but I hope not.
I don't know. I think you find it all through the Midwest. I think you find it all through Pennsylvania and all your listening area. You just got to look for it. And when you find it, everybody, don't pass it by.
No, take time. Slow
down.
There's
nothing more important than that.
Absolutely.
That's right.
Absolutely. Hey, before we let you go, we're running up here close on time. I don't want to keep you. But I did talk with Eric Davis, the gentleman who took you on your UP buck hunt. And
cool.
We're gonna meet up with him and talk with him a little bit, and he's going to share a few things about that trip with us. And after we talk to him about that, then we'll come back. Maybe we'll revisit that and maybe refresh your memory on that a little bit as well. So, but
I may end up flying in there for the hunt this year, but they're great people, and I enjoyed getting my first buck there with the crossbow, and it was really exciting.
Yeah, we're looking forward to meeting with him and chatting with him, and we might even share a fishing line with him at some point. So you never can tell, but
So let me just give you a dilemma.
Okay.
I can talk with you a couple more minutes while you do your thing.
Okay.
Or I can just say goodbye, because I'm going to make a U-turn, drive 18 miles back to the Clutina, get in my action track chair, and fish till 10 o'clock tonight when it looks like 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Wow.
And I'm going to turn off my smoker, and I got to get going. So you take care of business. I'm going fishing.
Okay. Take care,
All
Tred.
right, take care, Tred.
We'll see you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Well, I tell you what, if that's not living the life of Riley, I don't know what is. It's simply amazing to see how much fun he's having and enjoying life.
I tell you what, he's living his dream. And now that he says that Valdez is one of the most beautiful places in the world to him,
he's not coming back.
It doesn't seem that way.
I think
but I tell you what,
he's found home.
He's been in Colorado, which is a beautiful place.
Yeah.
He says. He's been in Florida.
Yep.
A beautiful place.
He lived in North Carolina over on the ocean.
And now he trucked all the way up to Alaska, and he might have found happiness.
I think so. There's something to be said for that. It's
right?
What do they say? Location, location, location.
It is location. But what I'm afraid is the snow.
The snow's going to be rough. 500 inches. That's a lot of snow.
500 inches
annually. How many feet does that equal?
I got it right here. 500 inches divided by 12 inches in a foot, 41.6 feet.
41 feet of snow.
Yes.
That's a lot of shoveling.
No wonder you put a snowblower on your roof.
This is true. This is true.
So, like you said, the snow caps are still on there.
Mm-hmm.
Never go away. So they must have just, people talk about it here in Michigan, the snow just went away.
Right.
Literally, it just went away up there.
Right.
So, but how'd you like a black bear at 15 paces?
Grizzly bear.
A grizzly bear, sorry.
No, thank you. I'll
Right.
pass. Unless I'm hunting them and I want that quartering away shot.
Right?
You know.
What I'm afraid is Pepper is going to learn her lesson, but...
I hope it's not the hard way.
Right, and I would hate to see it from a grizzly bear.
Right.
Because,
yeah, right.
We've seen pictures of people holding up their paws next to their head.
Right.
So,
yeah,
hopefully Pepper, she learns her lesson before that happens.
That's right.
So, but...
Pepper, stay close to Tred.
Right. Stay close to Tred. Take care of Tred. But that's funny you mentioned that, you know, they had 245 pounds of fish. It's like, well, what did he do with it all?
Mm-hmm.
No, now we know. So it sounds like he's going to go off and go fishing, and we'll have to get a hold of him in the next week or two.
Or week or 2 or 3. How long has it? It's been what?
This will be the second week, right? Last week we didn't get a hold of him. This week we did.
Now, I thought we passed last week, or did we?
Yeah, we did.
Okay.
Last week.
So it's been 2 weeks since we've talked to him.
It's been 2 weeks.
Gotcha. Okay.
So whether we go a week or two, depends on if he wants to drive another 18 miles.
Yeah. And in reality, folks, that's what we're dealing with. Number one is being able to communicate to him back and forth via text, you know, if he has a signal, or via Facebook when he has a chance to post.
Right.
You know, you're in the middle of nowhere.
That's how we figure out he's alive, is if we post to Facebook.
Right. You know, that's the reality of it. So,
right.
Literally, he called me tonight, and he's like, when are we going live? And, you know, we hadn't heard from him in 2 weeks. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm glad I've been keeping up and getting pictures ready to go and everything. And I said, give me a half hour. We can be live. So
right.
That's the way we're rolling with this.
I jumped in my vehicle and got over here, and
away we went.
That's right.
So
that's where Tred's at right now. He's in Valdez, Alaska, enjoying himself, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like he's got people coming through at a pretty good rate, keeping
good.
him company, which is good. You're right. Good. But a lot of it, the one picture you put up where he's right on the side of the river with his camper.
Incredible.
It looks like by himself, though, he's having fun.
Absolutely. You know, it's what we all dream to do someday, I guess. You know, we as outdoorsmen.
I would like to. Interesting that he'd like to fly again.
Yeah. Well, that's not a passion of his.
It is a passion.
It's a deep passion of his.
It is, and man, getting in those planes, I know, isn't the
easiest thing to do.
Right, because the doors aren't, you know,
they're off the ground.
Right, and so it'd be cool. I'd like to see him do it.
Absolutely. Well, I tell you what, we're going to wrap up this episode, and like I said, as soon as we get in touch with him again here in a week or 2 or 3. We'll be back on again with another episode with Tred. So y'all take care. You can follow his journey. We'll be posting things on our page. He'll have them on his page. So just have to stay tuned. And the next time we get ready to go live, we'll let you know. But that'll do it for this episode of the Tred Barta Get Off the Couch Expedition with the Up North Journal. Y'all take care. We'll be back again real soon. And don't forget, you can catch us in syndication at 2 p.m. Eastern Time on GoodTalkRadio.com. This episode was brought to you by PSE Archery,
Scentlock Technologies,
Scent Blocker,
Rambo Bikes,
Hunter's Blend Coffee,
Lim Walker Game Calls,
Stanislawski Releases,
Copper John Sights,
Easy Cut Outdoor Products,
Fourth Arrow Camera Arms,
Wind Sense Hunting Sense,
X-Stand Tree Stands,
Spot Shooters,
Gut Check Indicators,
and Packermax Cultipackers.
Thanks for listening, and join us again here next week. Until then, remember, as we always like to say, if you're out on the water or in the woods, shoot straight and be safe. Until next week on the Up North Journal.